So we'll talk about what the extensions are, and then I'll show you a few of my favorites. But I'm not going to go into all of them because it's like talking about the App Store in a sense. There's thousands and thousands of apps you can now download on your phone. There's a lot of extensions you can get now too. So I'll kind of go into it, and you'll have a better understanding when I'm done about why I'm not going into all of them because there's just too many. So before we go too far, let's talk about Chrome, because if you're not familiar with browsers and things, you might not even know what Chrome is. But Chrome is a web browser. You use Chrome, or you using Chrome? Okay, so you're familiar with it. There's this thing you can do though. You can log into Chrome. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but you can log in with your Brevard account, and it allows you to save your settings so that you could then log into Chrome on someone else's computer and get all of your tabs, your browser settings, your bookmarks, your extensions, anything that you've customized on your personal web browser. You can take it with you, just like when you save your Gmail settings and you log into Gmail somewhere else. So everything's moving to the cloud, and browser settings are another one of those things that you can now take with you.
Okay, I just thought that came through my account. Like whenever I go across campus and log into a different computer, it takes a while, but then everything comes up and I can use it just like it's my own desktop.
Yep, exactly. But even if you're off campus, that's tied to your user account at that point. So it's because you've logged into Chrome on your other computer, it's bringing it up on the computers you log into. But even if you were off campus, you could log into, when you go home, yeah, you could pull up all the same settings you've got on Chrome. And it's available on all computers. Jason's put this on every single campus computer, so even if it's not being used, it's there, and you can start using it if you want to. So the extensions are going to be a little bit different. They're little software programs. They add functionality to Chrome, so they make your browser do things that the browser wouldn't normally do. And the nice thing for us and for you guys is that you can actually download them to your computer without admin rights. You probably noticed if you've ever tried to download anything on campus, you can't. You can't download new software, you can't download updates. Everything that's downloaded is actually handled by Jason most of the time. But Chrome extensions, because they're tied to your account, not necessarily downloaded to your computer per se, you can actually add them yourself, which is kind of cool. It gives you a little bit of control that you don't have with other things on your computer. And as I said, it moves with your Google account. They change up an interface, so no extension is like another extension. They're all a little bit different. There are some common elements to them, but we'll talk about what's the same. But for the most part, each one is a little bit different depending on how they work. There's a Chrome store, which is where you access any extension you want to add to Chrome. So just like I said, like the App Store, you go to the Chrome store and you can choose to search through extensions and find what you're looking for. Some of them are not free, most of them are free. And I'm only going to show you guys free ones, and I would encourage you to just kind of stick to the free ones. I haven't found an extension yet that's worth paying for. Same like with apps. Some of them, if you're really big into something, you might find an app worth paying for, but for the most part, you should be able to find pretty functional things now for free. It's a brand new day, right? In a new age. And when you get it installed, it's going to be right there on your toolbar, so it's always accessible for you anytime you're browsing in Chrome. Really easy to get to. And some even just work in the background. I'll show you one that's kind of a funny one, but it works in the background, and others kind of work the same way, depending, again, on their functionality. So some of them you have to actively engage with to use. Some of them will just do their thing, like your ad blocker extension. It just does its thing, right? You don't have to touch it.
Yep, it just shows me 15 ads blocked.
Yep, yep. Now, if you add one and you don't like it, you can manage them. They're not there permanently. You can get rid of them. You just go to your Chrome settings and you take it away. And I'll show you guys where that is. So the Chrome Web Store looks a little bit like this. We'll take a live visit to it when we go through the demo. But pretty much like any other store, you see here there's a section to filter on extensions. Then you can filter for free, only to show you the free ones, and you can really go from there. Once they're installed, this is what they look like. They're just in your toolbar up there on the top right. And so you can access them from there. When you go to manage them, this is what they look like. So in your management area, which I'll walk you guys through, you've got the little trash can. You can delete them if you just want to keep it, but you don't want it to work right now because it's, dragging your machine a little bit. Some of these will slow your machine down if they're actively running in the background. So if, for example, if you noticed your ad blocker extension was, really slowing things down and you wanted to just see what it looked like without it, you could disable it and let it go without it and see if it makes a difference. But for the most part, if you're using it, you're probably going to want to have it enabled. If you're not using it, you probably just want to remove it from your browser. It's just taking up space. So why? Why do we use these things? Because you can do more things, like a Swiss Army knife. It turns your browser from just a regular browser into this multifunctional tool where you've got lots of options. Because it's built right into your browser, you can oftentimes do these things faster than you could do them in other programs. So I've got a couple ways that I take screenshots, but when I take them using the extension for my browser, it's usually a lot quicker than when I have to open this other program up and take a screenshot that I'm going to mark all over. It depends. And I'm saying it in a way that I take a screenshot with tools that allow me to mark on them, and then I can save them to a place where I can share them. So I can do that in an extension much more efficiently than I can do with this other program that can often take a little time to load up. It's just a little slower. Again, you can take your tools with you, so that's kind of a nice thing. I'm going to keep reiterating that because I think it's a good one. And free is always good. So what are we talking about doing? We know about ad blockers. I'm going to show you some that do screenshots, video screen capture, all these things. Color pickers. Do you guys know what we might want a color picker for?
I think you demonstrated it in another workshop where you're trying to match the colors for the school.
Yep. So Yep. There are times where you want to have an exact color code. Every color that you see on a computer actually has a code, and there's a couple different versions of that code, but you can pick that code from a page so that you could then copy it and use it in something else. So if you're making a flyer and you want to get the exact color of the Brevard website, you can use your color picker to get that exact color, then use that in other places. Page rulers. So if you're making an image and you need to know exactly how many pixels you need to make it, you can measure it out with a ruler that tells you how many pixels a certain space is on your screen. That's kind of cool. I'll show you the notes one, and then there's this one that's kind of funny, just the Drumpf extension.
I downloaded the Drumpf one, but I didn't really see it working very much.
I'll show you. It definitely works. So getting started, again, this is the web store's address. I'm going to send you guys this and some links as well. I'll be sure to include this link in the follow-up. But this is where you go to actually download your extensions. I think I've mentioned already that, you can log into your browser, but you can also log into accounts with your extension. So just like when you download an app on your phone, you download the Facebook app. Well, you have to have a Facebook account to use it. Some apps you don't have to have an account. Some it's optional. It's kind of the same deal with extensions. Some extensions require a login. Some just work better with a login. So keep that in mind that, as you start to use them, like for example, the screen capture extension really does work better with a login because I can then save all the uploads that I make to an account. Otherwise, it's just kind of a one and done, and I can't go back and look at history, and I can't really share them. I have to download them, so keep that in mind. When you're looking at them in the store, there are reviews. Definitely read them. Ask your friends what they use. They might have some ideas. Beth Banks showed me one that I'm going to show you guys in this workshop. It's the Notes extension. Thought it was really cool. So, people show me things too, and definitely love hearing about it. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the demo because that's about all I want to talk about. It's a pretty straightforward concept. There's not really a whole lot to get. But do you guys have any questions before we? Okay, cool. So the first thing I want to show you guys is right now I am not logged into my Chrome browser. Okay, you can tell because I don't have any extensions and there's nothing personal up here. It's just my stuff. So let me go into my settings, and I want to go ahead and sign into Chrome. and I'm going to sign in with my Brevard account, which is the one that I'm signed into at my work computer.
So if you had a different Gmail account, you would just have to sign in with that account.
Yeah, you can sign into any Gmail. Yeah, if you've got a personal account, you can use that. I want to show you guys the extensions I've already added to my work account, so I'm going to show you guys those, and you'll see how they get added once I log in. Okay, we're going to go ahead and sync everything. And these are all my bookmarks. There go my extensions. Boom, boom, boom. It's loading them all up. Pretty cool. So all these things got installed, and we'll just take it from there. So at this point, I've got all my extensions up here. There's my Drumpf extension. So this extension actually just works in the background, and anytime I pull up anything on my web browser that has the name Donald Trump, it is supposed to change it to Drumpf. It was sort of a comedian's attempt to make things a little bit more palatable, I think, for people that were tired of hearing about Trump. There we go. Drumpf's argument. So
who was that? 'Cause we watched
that was
it.
John Oliver.
Yes, we were watching. I was like, I had to do this.
Yeah.
It took a little time.
So I think it's funny. Yeah, it just, there it is again. So this one, again, it works in the background. I don't do anything. I just installed it, and automatically it's going to do that for me. I mean, it's just kind of silly. There's obviously much more, practical ways to use extensions, but I just thought I'd show you guys that as a pretty easy example of something that works in the background. So we also have the color picker that I've mentioned a couple times. And, we may want to use the color picker, like I said, to get our images working exactly the way we want them to. So this is an image I made. This is an image I made. And I used a color picker to match that blue with this blue and this green with this green, right? Because that looks pretty good on the page. Everything's matchy-matchy. There's no, disconnect between the brand here. So in order to do that, I've actually got two color pickers because they both work pretty well. And you can have your choice for some of these. There's really, plenty of options out there. And color pickers have been around for a while. So this one is pretty good. I just click on it, select color picker, pick color from page, there we go. And so it's going to allow me to kind of move my mouse over any particular section, and I can pick the color. So if I want that blue color again, I can do that. If I want even some of these more obscure colors up here in the logo, I can pick that out, and it's now copied to my clipboard, so I can use it when I go to some of these other sites like Canva, which I'm going to actually go through next week to do a workshop on that. So now let's say I want to make the background the right color. I've got a place to do a custom hex code on Canva because I know that's an option, and I can just paste that color. And it's the exact same color that we've got up here in that logo. It's pretty cool. There's other color pickers. Like I said, this is a sort of a simpler interface here. Just follows you around. You can pick whatever you want. So let's say we don't like that. We want to use the green. This one I have to actually copy the code from. So it's simpler, but it's lighter. So I think it works a little quicker than that other one sometimes. So let's say we need to change this now to our green. I'll remove that code, Command B to paste, and now we've got our Brevard green. So for people like me that make things, if you're making images or you're creating any kind of documents or things that you really want to maintain brand consistency, it's a great tool. Any questions about the color picker? Cool. So here's another one. So I needed a ruler to make this button, right? I've got a certain size here. I wanted to make sure that my image fit that space. So when I first made that button, I used a ruler. And I used a Chrome extension for that. So I turned my page ruler on. And now I just need to, when I did this, I just took a guess. I wanted to guess the width. Alright, that's a That's about what I did there. So 432 pixels by 76 pixels. So again, if I'm going to make this button, I want to use some custom dimensions. What was it? 436 by 432 by 76. Tells you how much I can remember. 432 by 76. And so when I do that, now I'm ready to design an image that's going to be exactly the size I need it to be, so that when I put it in there, it's going to fit perfectly. All right, so these are some insider tips from people like me who pretend like they know how to design things for the web. I just have these little tools in my tool belt that I can pull out to make things look right when I'm really not going to that much trouble to make them look right. I'm letting you guys in on the secrets today.
That's
all right.
what you get for showing
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty cool though, right? I mean, if you are ever, creating images, then that's a great tool. All right. Now, the one that most of you are probably going to use pretty regularly, if you're going to use any of these, would be these screen capture options. And I've got two here. This is really going to be for capturing images. The other one you can use for both, but I use it more for screen casting if I need it. So I've got some options here on my screen capture extension, and I'll send you guys the links to these particular extensions so you know which ones they are. I've got an option here to capture just the visible part of the page. Delayed capture means it's going to wait 3 seconds, and I can actually change that to wait more or less, but what it does, so if I need to show somebody a specific item on a drop-down menu, then it's going to give me 3 seconds to get onto the page, open the drop-down menu, so that I can actually get a capture of that full menu instead of just the page, right? So let's go to, so for example, let's find a place with a drop-down menu. Not going to be here. Oh, come on. Pretty sure they use a drop-down. Might be wrong. Okay, so there's a good example. So this right here, like it's not gonna, maybe I want to actually get over a specific article. I want to be highlighting that article, right? I can't do it while I'm clicking the screen capture. So I'm gonna use a delayed capture. It's gonna give me 3 seconds. I want to highlight this article, and now it's gonna take the picture. So now I can mark that up and say, this is the article I wanted you to look at, the one that's highlighted. I can even draw a square around it. Draw more square, anyway. So you get the idea. It's pretty cool, because not only can you take the capture, but you can then mark it up and make notes on it, like,
Kind of simultaneously, or like I use the snippet tool, so I have to
Exactly.
save it and then open Paint and then do all that stuff.
So this lets you do exactly what you need right here, and then when you are done, you can save it locally, or when you have an account with them. Oh, I think I'm connected through Google. Let me do that. Oh no. Oh, it did connect me somehow. So I can upload it, and now I can get this image to share it using the link.
So put in your drive?
This one doesn't put it in my drive, but there are others. The other one that I'm going to show you does put it in your drive. So this is kind of nice, though. I can send people just a link instead of having to send them a full attachment, which is another kind of neat part of it. And because I have an account here, I can go back and look at all my images that I've created. So here's some other ones that I did earlier. My Brevard. Just playing around here. You can go back and find your history. Let's say you are in your mail. This is another neat feature of the. Come on. And for example, sometimes I need to show people something in the mail just to be able to point out a setting or a specific, click here, but I don't want them to read all the emails that I've got, right? So for this here, I've got an option. I can capture the entire page, and then I got this little blur tool, right? Now nobody's going to see my email. So a lot of ways you can take advantage of the editing that you can do afterwards. Maybe I don't even want them to see who I've been chatting with. But good tool there too for people that are a little worried about their privacy and you need to send some screenshots of any pages that might contain one piece of sensitive info that you need to cover up. Okay. So now I'm done, and I can take this and save it and upload it or whatever I need to do. Cool. You guys have questions about the awesome screenshot extension? All right. We also have a way to do screen capture. This is a little bit, I'll say this is one of those that runs a little slower. We're talking about video, so we have to have some patience with this particular extension. And every time you start it on a new computer, you need to go ahead and give it permission to access your microphone, and if you're going to use your webcam, you're going to give it permission for that too. Okay, so we're going to allow it to see all these things because if it doesn't see them, it can't record them. And then when you first get started, this guy actually gives you a nice little intro video, so it tells you how to use it. But that's what I'm here for too. So now we're in, and you can see it's picking up my microphone. I just want to record the desktop at this point, so let's go ahead and start recording. I'll tell it to pick out that tab. And let's just share the entire screen. It's going to be easier. All right, so now if I need to show people, for example, I want to tell you how to get to the username and password page, and this is the particular thing I need you to see, or this is the problem I've been having. Really great for us if I say, can you send me a screen capture of the issue you're having? And then if you guys knew how to do that, then it would make all of IT's world so much easier. But even for purposes of sharing things with your peers, you often need to explain things to people you're working with. How do I get to this calendar? And that would be a great thing sometimes for a screen capture, or even just a screenshot at times would be good too, but sometimes you need that video. So when you're done, you're stopping, and it's going to take you into, all right, so now if I need to show people, for example, I want to tell you how to get to the username and password page, and this is the particular thing I need you to see, or this is the problem I've been having. Really great for us if I see. Okay, so you guys see it. It's going to record it. This is my preview. I've got options now to save it to my computer. These are all of my other recordings. Like I said, I'm logged into this account with the extension. So I have an account with this particular extension, and that allows me to save all my recordings. But this one also links up to my drive. So this one does put it in my drive for me too, so I can get back to it later. And that's how you're going to share these particular videos, with a link, which is kind of cool too. So I can get my link here, and it has been copied. Now, it's going to take a minute to upload the drive, so if you try to share it and somebody tries to open it right away, it's going to tell you that it's processing. I'm sure it's still processing now. But if you give it a minute, it'll finish uploading. Yeah, so it's still processing. We'll wait a second for it to finish.
If I use my own laptop with a webcam and microphone, which is just in it, because I don't have a microphone, I could go through that whole little thing, like this is how you make a reservation on Google Calendars, and then save it, and share that like with new admin assistants that get hired, and they can fund it.
Yep. And if you've got it in Drive, once it's in there, you can actually embed that. So you could create a little screencast and then put it in My Brevard and just have it right on your My Brevard page and say, here's how you do this, or here's how you do that. Wait for this to finish. It's still going to process because it's a video. And it automatically will put it in the main folder of your drive, so it's not going to put it in any particular folder. And when you get the link sharing, it's going to just give people permission to view it. You're not giving them editing privileges. You're not giving them any unnecessary access. It's set up to be viewable for anyone that has the link. Okay, so keep that in mind too. You can always go back and change it, but that's where it's going to put it. So if we look at my drive, you'll see it somewhere down here. Here, let's sort by last modified. Should be today. There we are. Creates a folders. This one's called Screencastify. So I should say it doesn't put it in your main folder. It puts it in your main folder under their folder. I lied. All right, let's try this one more time. Okay. It's going to take a minute, but you can see this is the untitled one that I just made, 226. So I can give it a name if I want. I can open up my sharing options, and you can see anyone with a link can view. And that's what it just gave me, this link earlier. This is what I got provided initially. All right, we'll go on to the next extension. I want to show you guys. We'll come back to that, but that's the idea. It's a pretty straightforward way to make screen capture, and it's a free account, so you're going to have like a limited amount you can upload, or I think you can only record up to 10 minutes at a time. So it's obviously not a full-fledged editing suite or anything like that, but you can do some minor bits of editing in here. If you need to crop it and trim it, you can. So let's say I just want to show people this part of the screen instead of all the stuff in my background. And if I want to trim it up to only show them stuff after the first 10 seconds. I need you to see, or this is the problem I've been having. Really great for us. If I say, can you send me a screen capture of the issue? Oh, I actually need to upgrade to a paid version to do that. So there you go. That's how they get you. Yeah. First one's free. I thought you could actually do this without the paid version, but it's telling me this feature requires a paid edit. So pay attention. Don't get caught like me. I thought we could do this, but we can't. Either way, still pretty simple. Pretty good tool for you guys for what it is. For free, it's pretty good. And if you do need to edit, you can always save it to your local machine and edit using Movie Maker, or you can send it to me and say, Doug, can you make this look great? And I can put it in my software and try to do something more fun with it. All right, the last one I wanted to show you guys is this Notes tool. I like this one a lot. This was the one that someone showed me. But I need to log in with my notes. What did I use? Okay. Cool. So this is my board that I created before. And you can create your own boards, and you saw that I logged in, created an account with this one, so that because I did that, I could pull up all my notes that I made on my other computer into this one. Logging into Chrome is only going to save your extensions, but it doesn't necessarily log you into your extensions if they have an account. So for this one, I had to log in, and creating a new note is as simple as double-clicking, and then you've got all these little fun editing tools. You can even add images like I've done here. You could add a little video note. It's really pretty functional. I was very surprised at how much you could do here, and it's all very visual, but really fun. Even to the point where, you know, you can make them bigger, smaller, changing the background from cork to wood grain, you know, like you. So now if I need to show people, for example, I want to tell you how to get. Where did that just come from? Username and password page. I got tired of me waiting for it. So yeah, I like this one a lot, and you can make different boards. So I can have my to-do items. I've got Sakai notes, and these are just some other boards that I haven't put anything on yet, but I can either keep them or get rid of them. And get rid of them since they're empty. Okay. So to-do items, Sakai notes, whatever else you want to do. You can add another board, whatever you want.
It's like heaven for people who make to-do lists.
Mm-hmm. exactly. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I use sticky notes on my Mac. I have a whole separate app, but this is great because you can take it with you. And my sticky notes only stay on my one computer, but this one I can log in and get them anywhere. You can even publish boards to make them available for other people that have this extension, so you guys can share notes back and forth. It's kind of similar to a Google Doc, just different interface. But it's neat. I'm kind of learning my way around this, and I'm sort of quickly becoming a fan. I love that you can put the images on here. I think that's pretty cool. Questions about this one? Okay, and I'm sure you guys are going to find other extensions that are even more fun or functional. All right, so there we go. There's our video. Now in Google Drive. All right, so now if I need to, and in order to embed this, not full screen, I want to go pop out. Oh, it's already in pop out. So I can embed the item here by getting this. I don't know, well, you weren't in our last class on it. You were, okay. So you know, if I wanted to put this somewhere that supports embedding, I've now got a video that I can do. Yeah, it's a really great way to do that because you've done that without downloading any software, without doing anything special. It's all right there in your browser. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that you'll get familiar with the particular extension you use. You'll find some that you don't like, that you just throw them away, but don't be afraid to play with them. I think that's the goal, is to just get in there and see if there's something that's going to be helpful for you. These are the ones that I find most helpful. But like I said, I didn't really even use notes until somebody else told me about it. I was like, this is really kind of interesting. So just ask people. If you pay attention to what other folks are using, you might see something they've already found that is really cool and that you want to try out. But please let me know if you guys find anything great, because I'm always interested in more tools that I haven't found yet.
Always.
Yeah, new things.
Can we, the way that the student showed me how to access it initially was through those little 3 bars on the far right.
Oh yeah, let me show you guys that. That's a great point. So the 3 bars are your settings for your browser. Everything you need to do to manage your browser you can do here. So if we go to more tools, we can go to extensions, and we can get to our extensions that way. You can also go to your settings, and you can just change to your extensions. So just keep that in mind. You've got a couple ways to go there. Extension, same place, right? So now we've got all the extensions that I have added, and like I said, some of these just work in the background. Google Docs, Google, all these just kind of get added as you use them, so you don't even know that you've added them, but they get.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that if I have all those things enabled, is it just automatically in there then?
Some of them. Some of them you'll notice will just be in there that you didn't even notice you were using, because you're using other tools that require extensions. So you'll say allow, and you forget about it, you know, and you've already allowed that extension to be working in the background. But you'll see them all. So if you decided that you don't really like this color picker, but you like the other one, you can get rid of one. If I'm tired of the Drumpinator, maybe I'll just disable it for now, and later on I can turn it back on. But that's pretty much it. If you go all the way down to the bottom, you can find your Chrome extension store. And this is your web store for Chrome extensions. You can search them, again, filter them to make sure you're finding just the free ones. These are all of our color picker extensions, and be aware when you start searching, it will show you some of the apps which are different. You want the extensions. You don't really need themes either. So if you see the top 3 and you want to browse more, you'll say more extensions, and you'll see all of them. Look how many there are just for color pickers. So that's why I say read the reviews, you know, ask your friends, see what you really want, try them out. If you don't like them, get rid of them. You're not really going to do any harm here. But have fun. I think they're a way to really add a lot of functionality that you didn't have. So.